Well, hello everyone, this is EC the Gamer and we are back with NieR Replicant. Wow, what can I say about everything that we have experienced? Uh, what more can I explain? Uh, Devil and Popola has has died. They essentially told us that we're not real. The people that we have interacted with, they're all essentially, I don't know if the term for them is androids. I don't know if that's because they say shells or replicants, but I don't know if replicants are actually clones or actual androids, robots. But what I understand is that it seems like the replicants or some of the replicants started to grow a consciousness, or a new person was born, and when they tried to add the the gestalt, the souls, which essentially are the shades, if we're not, they are not they're not compatible because there's something already inside. So we actually saw how the Shadow Lord was actually doing the same thing uh, for his sister. I think this the Jonah that we heard inside of our Jonah and the Shadow Lord were actually the people that we saw in the beginning of the game, the first scene that we saw. Let me see some things here. But yes, unfortunately, what seems to have happened is, yes, they got, uh, the Shadow Lord got the gestalt of her sister inside of the replicant Jonah. I think that's how it is, and she didn't like that. The gestalt didn't like that there was another person, that she felt like she was stealing the body of someone else. Let's continue to the ending, essentially.
Is Iona all right?
I hope so. Oh, by the way, uh, Weiss is already dead. I
Oh
think he
God,
died.
no.
Wow.
Oh, please, the girl is fine.
What the heck? The thing
Weiss?
is, so does that mean that the infection that Jonah had? No, it cannot be. She never talked about hearing another voice.
Where are you? Are you okay?
The body was already infected.
I am as well as can be, considering I have lost my physical form.
How the heck are you alive?
Doubtless my voice will be the next to go, so listen closely.
Oh, really?
Your sister is safe. Do not mourn her, and do not give up hope. Instead, you must call her back to you.
Okay.
How?
Use your memories. Recall the times you spent with her.
Okay, that should be easy.
Present her with proof that the two of you live still, and that your lives have meaning.
I don't know.
Really?
Typical. But take heart. I know you can do it.
What's my favorite food?
Oh my god, you're kidding me. This is
Cookies.
not...
What's my favorite book? That's my magic storybook.
Okay.
What's my favorite place? Home with you.
Wow.
What's my favorite flower? The lunar tear, of course. Okay, one more question. Who do I love more than anyone?
This me? I think it this me. Is that it, right? Myself?
Is that you?
Iona.
But I still don't understand. Is she cured? How is she cured?
Is this my body?
Yes, Iona. It's yours and yours alone.
You look bigger than before. Like you've grown up.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I guess you haven't seen me for a while.
Have I been asleep this whole time?
Yeah, you could say that.
Something like that.
It's almost like I'm a princess from some fairy tale.
Oh, Yona. I'm so happy to have you back.
Hey, where is Kaine?
Me too.
Kaine.
You and your sister, you have a good life, okay?
Where are you gonna go?
Guess I'll...
You could stay with us, you know.
No, she's infected.
Thanks, but I'll pass. You know how it is. I got my own shit to take care of.
What do you mean?
Personal shit, alright? Anyway, take it easy, yeah?
Kaine.
Hey, look.
I don't understand. She should already.
It's beautiful.
She should be infected, right? What am I missing here?
For the longest time, I heard someone telling me how they wanted to see the light. And now, they can finally see it.
Okay, so if I understood that, so she already have that gestalt inside her, but it was pretty much dormant, and I assume they essentially resurfaced her, you know, from her consciousness against the replicant consciousness. So the infection was actually coming from that person. Okay. It seems like that's the case. Am I correct? That's what I think. I don't know. What am I seeing here? Yeah, those when they were little.
Thank you. I love it.
And this is the first ending.
It's so sunny today.
Yeah, it sure is.
Oh, there they are. Yeah, those are the original ones. The gestalts. Yeah, her gestalt was not... She haven't gotten completely relapsed. She was about to. So that's why she's shown like she's normal, like... Ho ho. Oh. So based on this, the ending would have been... Yeah, the ending would have been 8 minutes or something like that, but there is the credits, so it would have taken more time. Yes, I made the right choice, guys. I wouldn't be able to show you this. It wouldn't, you know. Wow. And this is the first ending, so it seemed like a good ending. I still don't understand, because Jonah, or Replicant Jonah, was essentially saying there for the longest time. I heard a voice, I think, like something like that. Does that mean that the gestalt was already installed in her body when she was already a little girl, like, or the little replicant? Interesting. That means that they made a new body, right? But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, does that mean that from the beginning she already had the gestalt inside, but it was pretty much like a... Oh wait, that could make sense. The dreams. There was a moment that she was dreaming. Could those dreams be the voices? Had that person talking, speaking to her? Amazing music, by the way. But so the infection that Jonah was experiencing was actually coming from the gestalt. The gestalt was infected. Because from what I understood, I don't remember if I need to read the pages again, but definitely the Gestalt were getting infected. But from what I understood, eventually the replicants started to get infected for whatever reason. I don't, because remember. Well, wait a second. No, wait. I think I'm misreading this. Yeah, sorry. I'm just thinking about the area. The people in the area started to become shades. Would that be that? Okay, those people that have become. Because remember, Noir was supposed to begin the restoration of the humans. You know, essentially combining the Gestalt with their respective replicant. So it's possible that those people that turn into a shade, the replicants that would turn into a shade, that's because their Gestalts were already installed. Maybe, I don't know. You can respond this if anyone knows information. I'll look for it in the internet anyway after I finish the game. But I think that's the thing that makes sense, right? Like, because again, I don't understand what the replicants are. If they're androids, let's assume there are, then how the heck can they get infected with the white coloration syndrome, the black scroll? So the only way is that the infection, the consciousness was essentially a soul that was created. I don't know, I mean, because let's see, you can see it there, like the Jonah, the replicant Jonah, once the Gestalt Jonah got out of her body, Grima White said that she was okay. So that means that the infection comes from the soul, which is weird because it has to do with the process, the way they created the Gestalt. I think that's the problem. Yeah, that has to be the problem because, again, remember when this all started, they were humans with their bodies and everything, normal humans, and the reason why they did this project Gestalt, was essentially to save the people. So they decided to, hey, let's transfer the soul into a replicant body. But then they discovered that the shades or the Gestalt were actually infected, or the infection actually progressed to the soul. Wow. So yeah, you see that this is not clear in everything. Let's record here. Oh, there we go. Ending A. Ending B. Load your clear data after completing the game to experience Kinase story. Oh, interesting. You can now read a departed mother's diary in your house. Wardrobe has been added to the options menu. New outfits can be obtained by progressing through a departed mother's diary. Okay. Shame music has been added to the game setting section of the option menu. Wow. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. What the heck is this? You saying something on music, right? Oh, interesting. So to change the game background music to tracks from NieR Automata. I don't want that. What's the point? I'm going to play the other game. What's the point of hearing the music of NieR Automata? I know it's an amazing track, but I just okay. It said that I had to continue from here, right? Well, guys, let's continue. Ending B, I think. This is amazing. Uh, so this ending don't seem to be, at least, don't correlate to the.
Whenever I interacted with Kaine,
Oh,
I was reminded about something from my past.
this is when she. Okay, from this
Maybe
point,
my mind has been confusing her with my sister this whole time.
it makes sense.
Anyway,
So we're going to hear things from their perspective, maybe. So when I talk about the correlation, it's like it's not a continuation, because remember, I at least I remember NieR Automata. It was like ending A, B, C, and D. Like there were continuation. Especially no, if A and B wasn't like that. The sound of rain filled the village. The steep cliff that surrounded the area magnified sound, causing even the slightest drizzle to rattle like a thunderstorm. Thin wisps of smoke streamed from huts as the villagers huddled in their homes and waited out the rain. A single child, however, had braved the downpour and was now wandering slowly towards the wooden, hog-shaped weather vane at the center of the town. The wanderer reached the vein, which had existed for as long as any could remember, and stared. The child's face was simultaneously delicate and fierce, like a teacup that has survived a shipwreck. Those strength combined with pale white skin to give the face an almost sexless quality. Sorry, I'm trying to read this. If the beak turns east, I go home. What the heck? If I stay west, then I... The child blinked. Rain slowly dripped down the young one's short hair and began its long descent to the ground. Come on, come on. The child felt a slight breeze and watched as the vein slowly creaked to life. Spinning this way and that for a moment, it finally settled with the beak pointing firmly towards the east. East? Really? Before the vein could move again, a jagged rock came spinning and tumbling through the air, striking home against the child's head. Sorry, I'm just reading again. The force of the blow dropped the child to the ground as a hail of stones began to fall all around. Oh no, they found me. A heartbreaking smile crept across the child's face as the stones continued their assault. Through the rain, the sound of multiple footsteps grew louder before a voice rang out. Juhu, Kaine! The voice belonged to Demo, worst of all the bullies in the area. Okay, so this is Kaine's story when she was little. As Kaine struggled to stand, a final stone came skittering through the mud and bounced against her foot. Blood oozed from the cut above her eyes and blurred her vision, but she could make out the shades of Demo and his usual gang of idiots. The boy seemed taken aback for a moment by Kaine's seemed indifference to the blood dripping from her face, but quickly regained his bravado. What's up, freak? You like the rain? You like getting all wet? Or did you finally decide to run away from home? Though she knew it was futile, Kaine turned to leave. Before she could get more than a few steps, the other children scrambled to surround her, cruelty burning in their eyes. Kaine knew those were not the only eyes on her. The tormentor's parents watched from the safety of their homes. She was attuned to this sensation. It was one she had experienced many times before. While some villagers simply turned a blind eye to the action of their children, many encouraged it openly. Holy crap. What horrible parents. In a society ruled by superstition and fear, Kaine was something to be hated and if possible destroyed. Oh, I understand why Kaine is so pissed at them. Didn't care. I didn't say you could leave, freak. Demo's words shoot at her like a worm through an apple. He can't hurt me, she lied to herself. Be strong, be brave. He can't hurt me, he can't hurt me, he can't hurt. Oh look, the little freak is gonna cry. What's wrong? Are you sad that everyone hates you and wants you dead? Kaine prayed for the rain to flow down and carry her away from a world that seemed to have no place for her. But if there were gods, they chose to ignore her. As Timo crept ever closer, the clouds began to thin and the rain slowed. Even the weather hates me. I'm useless, a failure. I wish Timo's rock had taken my head off. Kaine couldn't meet Timo's leering gaze. She lowered her eyes and stared at the muddy ground below. The bully moved forward until he was inches away. She could smell the scent of old meat on his breath. The boy grabbed Kaine's face with thick fingers and yanked it upward. She tried to turn away, but he forced her gaze back and jammed his thumb against her eyelid to pry it open. Show me. No. Did you just say no? Demon grinned evilly. You don't say no to me. No one says no to me. Oh my god, this kid. I already want to kill him. Sorry, but he's horrible. He's a horrible person. Not even taking his attention from Kaine, he called to his cohorts. Come on guys, let's give the freak what she deserves. As soon as Demo finished, kicks and blows began to rain down upon Kaine. Demo paused, still grinning, as Kaine curled into a ball and tried to make the pain stop. I don't get you, freak. What you acting like a girl for, huh? Everyone knows what you really are. Oh, what the heck? Is she like a guy or something? I think she has a very unique story, that's why she's dressed like she is, but she never talked about it, so... Kaine ignored the question, choosing instead to stare at the weather vane. It continued to point east as if supremely confident about the future it had chosen for her. Go home? Yeah, that's a funny joke for someone with dead parents and no home to go to. Wow. Freak, chanted the children. Freak, freak, freak. Kaine closed her eyes and listened to the rain, waiting for the pain to start again. As the clutching hands of the village children closed around her, she bent her mind to the sound of the rain, letting it become her world entire. The rain fell, but the pain never came. Only when the laughter of her tormentors turned to terrified cry did she dare open a single blood-caked eye. Kaine was shocked to see Demo sprawl on the ground, holding his head and screaming in pain. She could see blood welling from spaces between his fat, twisted fingers. Oh my god, he's crying. He's actually crying. Deprived of their leader, the other children glanced back and forth between themselves as if waiting for someone to step forward and take charge. When no savior emerged, they began an uneasy shuffle away from Kaine, but the As they fled, the old woman grabbed her side and barked out a single laugh. Ha! Look at the fat boy go. Guess he's healthy enough to run from a fight. The woman's smile faded as she turned her attention to Kaine. Kneeling down, she removed her shawl and placed it around the young girl's shoulder, then produced a cloth from the folds of her dress and began blotting at the blood on her forehead. Oh, Kaine, why didn't you fight back? You're stronger than that law. The words of her grandmother stung Kaine and she turned away. Don't be nice to me. I don't deserve it. Nothing matters anymore. Her tears held in check for so long finally began to fall on the muddy ground below. Everyone hates me. They think I cause bad things to happen. They think I'm a freak. I wish I was that. Oh my god, this is horrible. Now I have mixed feelings about the area being destroyed. As Kaine's tears turned to sob, she felt her grandmother's hands on her shoulders. Despite her advanced age and diminutive size, she was a woman of surprising strength, and Kaine found herself unable to turn away. Don't talk like that, girl. It's a river wide and deep that flows between the realms of this world and the next, and it grants no mercy to any that attempts the crossing. You got a duty to fight until your last breath. Understand? The old woman tightened her grip and tried to still the tremor in her voice. You know the pain of losing someone close to you, Kaine? You know because you survived it. As the word hit home, Kaine was struck by the force of her love for the old woman. As she didn't even know of mother, but when her parents quickly accepted her as her own. Grandma, as Kaine called her, was cunning, vulgar, and quick to violence, and the first few years together had not been easy. Oh, so it's not the grandmother, right? Or I don't know if she was the actual grandmother. But with each year that passed, Kaine and grandmother had grown closer. However, it was only now sitting in the mud with tears and blood caking her face that Kaine truly understood the depth of her affection. Here was a woman who had seen hard times, who had seen death, who had fought through all these things and saw her emerge on the other side. If anyone could understand Kaine's pain and loneliness, it was her. Do I make you sick, Grandma? Of course not. Don't be an ass. Kaine drew her grandmother's moth-eating shawl around her body and shuddered. But my body is not normal. If I was normal, then Mom and Dad wouldn't. Hush, hush, I'll not hear another word of this nonsense. You're my granddaughter and I love you. If folks have a problem with that, they can just go to hell. With that, the old woman reached out and placed a dry flower in Kaine's hair. The skill it took to bend the flower without breaking the stem or losing a single petal was remarkable, and the beauty of it made Kaine want to cry all over again. Oh my gosh, these are lunar tears. Grandma, you made this for me? Lunar tears were legendary flowers. Most people could live their entire life without ever seeing one, and yet her grandmother has somehow collected a dozen or more. Kaine reached up and touched the wreath as if she couldn't believe it was real. Where did you find these? Just stumbled on them while I was doing the shopping. The old woman turned away as she spoke, leading Kaine to suspect that the search had been more difficult than she was letting on. The pain she took to construct the ornament, let alone track down the flower using in its construction, made Kaine's heart hurt. She reached up and gently adjusted the wreath, admiring the way it fell between her fingers. Didn't quite turn out right, said the grandmother as she squinted at it. These old hands are strong with delicate work, but it sure looked good on a pretty girl like you. Kaine blushed and turned away. You think I'm pretty? Of course you are. What a fool thing to say. What a fool thing to say. Thank you, Grandma. Her grandmother smiled. We're gonna be fine, you and me. Long as we got each other, we'll be just fine. Kinda took her grandmother's hand in hers, and the two of them struggled to their feet as they began the long walk. The long walk home. Kinda gripped the hand with all her might, as if trying to stop smoke from drifting away on the wind. The rain had stopped. Kinda stood beneath the weather vane, watching it spin in lazy circles, carrying, no longer caring about the direction it faced when it stopped. I don't need to escape. I have a home now. Grandma loved me, and that's enough, even if it's us against the world. Here, here, that's the way to think. Kinda let her gaze drift up past the vane and into the cloudy sky. The last faint hints of a rainbow were slowly fading. As she turned and headed for home, the light scattered into a million particles and vanished, seemingly taking away on the breeze. Kindness dream daily life. What the heck is this? Oh my god, this is not possible. This is too long. Well, let's see. If in the distance, Kinda heard the steady sound of an axe striking wood. The noise had a purposeful quality to it, as if she was hearing a master's woodsman go out about his work. The firewood being produced, however, was as far from a work of art as could be. Pieces of every shape and size were being flung about a barren jar while abandoned. Anyone trying to stack such wood would probably die of frustration before the job was through. Stupid piece of shit ass. Kindness grandmother flay away with the axe, filling the air with both splinter of wood and words that would make made the most hardened sailor blush. Grandma, that you, Kinda? Yelled the old woman, taking her eyes off the wood for a moment. Don't get too close, or I might take your goddamn foot off my mistake. She brought the axe down at a piece of wood, sending ships flying every direction. One spun past Kinda close enough for her to hear the whistle, at which point she decided to step back. When she scuffled to a safe distance, she scuffed her hands around her mouth and shouted, "Grandma, do you need help? I can get you water or lunch or a new axe or something." The axe poised to strike another wobbly blow. Fast in mid-air, the old woman considered her granddaughter's offer for a moment, then smiled. Tell you what, since I'm doing such a piss poor job at shopping, why don't you come here and take over so I can go get the water? Shade has been restless lately, and I don't want you running into one of them bastards. Relinquishing the axe, her grandmother picked up a long pole with wooden buckets on either end. Gathering water was by far the more difficult of the two jobs, but Kinda knew better than to complain once Grandma's mind was set. There was no changing it. Kinda did her best to help with chores, but Grandma took every task that required travel to the village. Though she had a long list of plausible excuses, Kinda knew the real reason. She didn't want her granddaughter to be taunted and harassed by the villagers. Once Kinda moved in, Grandma decided to take our residence a good distance from the area. So that's the hovel, the house that we saw outside the area. Once Kinda moved in, Grandma decided to take our residence a good distance from the area. Out of sight, out of mind seemed to be the best policy when it came to the villagers and her granddaughter, and rare were the days when any but the two of them could be found on the rocky acres of land they call home. Kinda enjoyed the solitude, but harbored a secret resentment that her grandmother was forced to spend her golden years in such a place. After watching her grandmother leave, Kinda turned her attention to tasks at hand. She had never chopped wood before in her life, and soon discovered why the woman hated the shore. Swing after swing of the axe produced only a tiny crack in the wood, and when she finally managed to connect with a solid stroke, the tool embedded itself in the log and refused to budge. Frustrated, Kinda swung the axe around her and threw it, log and all, across the yard. Damn it, oh crap. She suddenly understood the joy her grandmother felt in a good curse. Happier now, she picked up the axe, forced it from the wood, and resumed chopping. She had a natural skill with a blade, but the task was challenging and blisters soon began to form on her small and pink hands. This is tough, and my logs are all weird shaped, weird sizes. Spitting on her palms and ignoring the pain kinda redoubled her efforts. Just as she was developing a rhythm, Grandma returned from the village. Setting down her bucket with a small sigh, she took one look at the log and coughed up a wheezing laugh. Pretty clumsy girl, you better practice if you... Her grandmother suddenly collapsed to her knees, causing one of her buckets to wobble precariously. Eyes wide, kinda dropped the axe and ran to her grandmother's side. Grandma! The old woman shook her head and pointed a trembling finger at the bucket. Get the bucket, can't let it spill. Kinda steadily the bucket with a foot as she knelt by her grandmother. A small bit of water sloshed over the side and made a new hole in the hem of her dress, but kinda didn't notice. Grandma, what's happening? Cray, with panic, she grabbed her grandmother by the shoulder and shook. After a moment, the woman lifted her arm and batted kinda away. Stop that, just stop. It ain't like I'm dying. Just tired from the trip is all. Kinda desperately wanted to believe her, but one look at the old woman's shaking hand and worn face told her more than words could. Her grandmother had lived a long, hard life, and it seemed the bill was finally coming due. The time where her grandmother watched over kindness was ending sooner than either of them had feared. The position would be reversed. The next morning, kindness came to the side of her grandmother's bed and took her wrinkled hand. Grandma, you're sick and you need medicine. I'm going to the village. The old woman shook her head and tried to rise, but kinda gently pushed her down. It's all right, I'll be fine. Her grandmother fixed her with a gaze that could melt steel. After what seemed an eternity, she finally lowered her eyes and sighed. Well, I don't like it, goddammit. But I guess I should quit being so stubborn and let you grow up. The old woman watched as kindness strapped on her boots and made her way down the road to the village. Hours later, as an unseen sun made its way across a dark and rainy sky, she was still watching. Kindness moved at a brisk pace, checking her pockets every minute to make sure the money her grandmother gave her was still there. Every noise caused her to spin on her heels, making sure she wasn't being stalked by a shade or worse, a demon his gang. But she encountered neither tormentors nor chased, and Kaine finally found herself at the entrance of the village. The few of those she could see glanced sideways at her, then muttered to each other behind raised hands before sneaking away into the shadows. Her heart racing, Kaine took a series of rapid shallow breaths and tried to calm herself. I had to prove myself. I had to help Grandma. I had to be strong. She chanted those words to herself over and over as she slowly made her way. Finally, her eyes settled on a rotund older woman who was angrily waving her arm in the air and telling anyone who would listen exactly what she thought of Kindness' presence. Hey lady, said Kindness with a bravado she did not feel. Where's the apothecary? Apothecary, right? That's how it says. The woman's flabby cheeks shook in bewildered anger. How dare this thing speak to me? They seemed to say, but Kindness saw that her eyes held a different emotion, fear. Yeah, we're both scared, lady. Trust me on this one. Which way? The woman pointed at a small building to her right before hitching up her dress and tumbling off in the other direction. Kindness cringed, expecting a stone to come flying from the assembled crowd, but none came. Her mind was filled with a strange sense of pride as she made her way to the apothecary, but the new emotion had little time to take root, for as soon as she opened the door, she noticed a familiar customer at the counter. It was Demo. He'd clearly been sent here on some kind of family errand because his grandfather was nowhere to be found. Oh my god. I mean, what are you doing here, freak? The insult was delivered without force, and Kaine happily ignored it. Threshing on tiptoes to see over the counter, she asked the shopkeeper for the medication. Huh. That old bitch finally keel over? Wow, go to hell, Demo. The boy's heart grew so wide they seemed ready to fall out of his head, but before he could let fly a combat or worse a punch, the apothecary told them to knock it off before he kicked them out of the store. Demo slunk out of the shop, cursing Kaine under his breath. Once he was gone, she allowed herself to breathe once more, taking a brief tour of the shop while the owner prepared her medication. Countless tiny bottles filled the grand store, each with a label written in some indescribable language. An ocean of aromas assaulted her nose, creating a scent that was exotic but not altogether unpleasant. Seeing such a variety of supplies gave Kaine a sense of peace. Surely in a world so vast, there would be a place that she could call home. On the far wall behind the counter rested a portrait of a stunning young girl. The picture had once contained bright, vibrant colors, but time had worked its cruel magic and they were beginning to fade. The beauty of the work, however, remained undiminished. You like that picture? Kaine turned to find the apothecary with a small vial of medicine in his hand. His eyes were gentle but sad, and they seemed to stare through her and into nothing as he spoke. That's my daughter. I sketched her when she was just a little girl. She's been dead a long time now. Kaine didn't know how to respond, just to stare at the portrait and try to come up with the right words. Pictures are wonderful things. They let the ones closest to you live on forever. He shook his head slightly, then looked down at Kaine's smile, handing her the medicine. He reached into his sizable grip and produced a handful of wax crayon. You should have this. There's no one left that I wish to draw. Kaine took an instinctive step back, causing the shopkeeper's face to darken. Yes, I heard the rumors about you. It's a small village and words travel quickly. Between you and me, I'm not sure which of them to believe, but I also don't think they matter much. I know your grandmother Kali, and I think the way she was dreaming out of this town is just deplorable. Grandma's name is Kali? Wow. She was still mulling this new fact over in her mind as she reached out and gently took the crayon from the apothecary's hand. Your grandmother is an old friend of mine, he said as Kaine scooted away yet again. I owed her much. I wager she would like it if you drew a picture of her. Yes, I think she would like that very much. Kaine murmured a quiet agreement, but inside her heart was bursting. Never before had a villager treated her with anything but complete contempt. It was a tiny, almost imperceptible step, but it was a step nonetheless, and with enough tiny step, she might one day discover the rest of the world. When Kaine returned home, she found her grandmother asleep in her bed. Her feet were blanket and raw, even bleeding a bit in places, leading Kaine to think that she had been pacing around the room until exhaustion finally caught up with her. She placed the medicine by her grandmother's pillow and turned to leave, but found the old woman's hand clasped around her arm. Back already, are you? Come here, let me have a look at you. Grandma sat up and examined Kaine from head to toe, finally satisfied that nothing terrible had befallen her grandchild. She leaned back and allowed herself to relax. Well, how was it? Those bastards gave you any trouble? It was kind of fun. No, seriously, it was. Fun, eh? Asked her grandmother in a voice which would imply she believed anything but. Uh-huh, so anything you need me to run an errand, just let me know. As she spoke, Kaine removed the crayon from her pocket after a brief explanation of their source. She informed her grandmother that she was going to sketch her portrait. A portrait of me? Ridiculous. No one wants to stare at a wrinkled old crone. But Grandma, it'll make you live forever. Horseshit. Throwing her sheet from her bed. Living forever would just piss me off. Now put those crayons away and help with dinner. But Kaine would not relent, and in the end, Grandma found herself leaning against the wall of their house, as if posing for a master artist. Kinda took out the crayons, eyed her subject carefully, and set to work. Just her grandmother was about to nod off, Kinda finished the piece. After staring at it for a bit, she released it from her grip and let it slowly drift to the floor. It's terrible, it doesn't look like you at all. I'm sorry, Grandma, I thought this crayon would, make drawing easy or something. The old woman's eyes narrowed at her granddaughter's disappointment. Let me be the judge of that. The judge of that. Ignoring the pain in her back and reaching for the paper. The sketch could have been a person's face. It also could have been a boulder, a lump of clay, or an incredible misshapen load of breath, all rendered in a chaotic array of colors. The old woman stared at the picture for a long time, then slowly wheezed out a laugh. Oh, Kaine, you truly are my blood. You are as clumsy as me and I love it. But, hush, I won't hear any bull about how ugly you think it is. It came from the heart and I'll treasure it always. True to her word, the old woman gave the picture a place of honor above the kitchen table. In the days that followed, Kaine would often catch her staring at the portrait with a strange smile on her face, an action she interpreted as silent mocking laughter. Wow. A week later, Kaine could stand it no more and asked her grandma to take the artwork down. Posh, I'll take this down when they roll me into my shroud. She pondered this for a bit, then turned to Kaine and dropped to one knee. Listen to me, girl. Seeing this picture makes me happy in a way I never felt before, and it makes me want to go on, so that someday you can feel the same happiness. It was a moment that burned itself in Kaine's memory, a perfect blend of pride and love and joy that came together to form a lifelong remembrance. She's sorry if I can speak really well now, it's just that this has been long. She swore to her to never forget this moment, to never forget the old woman who had made her place in the world possible. Time moves on, people and memories move in and out of a life like ghosts passing through a hole, but this moment will be different, Kaine swore, because I will remember it forever, forever. Oh, this is not possible. What the heck is this? Wow. It's not possible to read this. Kaine listened to the sound of her crackling firewood and stared at the black object on her plate. She's been pushing it around the wooden disc for a good 10 minutes, ignoring the bemused stare of her grandmother. Finally, she summoned her courage and gave the object a brief sniff. A sharp, bitter scent flew up her nostril and made it his home there, causing her face to twist with disgust. Grandma, I can't believe you want me to eat a bug. The old woman threw some more wood under the cooking pot and snorted. It's no bug, you fool girl. You fool girl, it's a berry. Why the hell would I be feeding you bugs? Yeah, well, it sure looked like a bug. And I think it's burned or something because it smelled terrible. With that, Kaine held her nose and threw the berry in her mouth, chewing as little as possible. Oh yeah, that's terrible, alright. Why, you little brat? Look at the sass on you. You've been spending too much time with me, and that's a fact. 5 years have passed since the moment when Kaine's grandmother saved her from the bullies. As is often the way with two stubborn people, their relationship had grown in fixed and stark, but moved forward all the same. Meals that used to be somber affairs were now filled with laughter and her abuse in equal measure. Kaine could not remember a time when she had been happier. As the year went by, Kaine started to shoulder more and more of the daily responsibility. Her grandmother's leg grew weaker by the day, and she could no longer do many of the chores she used to take for granted, and so this morning found lacing up her work boots with a breathful of burnt berry rolling through her belly. Where are you going today? Kaine looked out surprised. The old woman rarely asked for specific anymore. Well, I was going to check out the kelma trees and see if they were ripe. I thought we could make some jam or something. Oh, and I'm going to pick up some flagstone, so I need to take the wheelbarrow. Flagstone, what in the hell for? Kaine stared at Grandma, then held out an arm and swept it around their home. Constructed mostly of cloth, rope, and rubble, the old place sagged like a buster in the final round. Grandma, a dying cat could shoot through this house. I'm going to build a stone wall so we have some protection. The old woman laughed, exposing her toothless grin to the world. God damn it, girl. God damn it, girl. It's a bunch of thieves want to ransack this whole place. Let them come. We got nothing worth stealing anyway. I'm not worried about thieves. I'm worried about Shays. People saw one west of the village yesterday. The old woman tilted her head and stared at her granddaughter. Well, shoot, I don't know why you had to do it today. We can worry about it some other. Grandma, no. If I don't go to the Kilma trees, we won't eat tonight. You know that. A confused expression passed across the old woman's face, and for a moment she was a small child lost at a carnival. Yes. Yes, of course, you're right. I'm sorry, kinda. Lately, it seems my mind is... She didn't finish the thought. Instead walking over to her nightstand and gently taking the wreath of lunar tears from the drawer, the flowers, petal, and had aged to a brilliant whiteness, and kinda thought it was more beautiful now than the day she first received it. You're gonna be a true woman soon. Okay, as she placed the flowers in the girl's hair, so that means less chatter about shades and building defensive wall, and more talk about how beautiful you've become. Enoy kinda reached out to remove the garland, but the look on her grandmother's face stopped her hand. You're a beautiful thing, and there ain't another like you in all the world. I'm very proud of you. Okay, Grandma, that's enough. Goddamn compliment for one day. Such a mouth on you. Where did that come from? Gee, I wonder. I'll teach you to sass me, girl. Grandma yelled. Suddenly she lurched forward and grabbed Kinda by the ear, pulling her around the room with a crazed grin on her face. Grandma, stop it, what the hell? The old woman stared at her and blinked, then slowly held her wrinkled hands out as if it was the first time she had ever seen them. Oh, I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry, girl, sometimes my mind just... Kinda thought the look on her grandmother's face was the most heartbreaking thing she had ever seen. Listen, maybe I should stay home after all. No, I won't have you stay here to keep an eye on an old codger like me. You go get your fruit and your wool and whatnot. I'll be fine. And when you come back, I'll have a nice grasshopper dinner waiting for you. Kinda rolled her eyes, then kissed her grandmother on the forehead and made ready to depart, trying to desperately ignore the worry that was gnawing at the walls of her heart. Kinda could feel the woman's eye watching her as she moved down the path. Don't turn around, she told herself, but in the end the temptation was too great. She spun on her heel for one final look and saw a small bent woman standing in front of a ramshackle but with a sad expression on her face. Good gosh, she looked so old now. It looked like the wind could reach down and just carry her away. Kinda worried about her grandmother day, causing her work to suffer. What little fruit she could collect was tossed carelessly into the wheelbarrow, and she only found a couple of stones before losing interest in the project. Finally, as dusk approached, she decided to call it a day. Cursing herself for the lack of focus, Kinda pushed the nearly empty wheelbarrow back down the path. As she crested the final hill, she suddenly froze in place. The wheelbarrow fell from her finger and collapsed on its side, sending a few pieces of wrinkled brown fruit rolling back down the hill. Her gaze was transfixed by a thick black cloud that hovered just ahead. Tracing its path with a finger, Kinda suddenly felt her stomach knotting on itself. No, oh gosh, no. Her grandmother's house was ablaze, the flames licking up as if trying to touch the sky itself. Grandma! Kinda ran then, faster than she had ever moved in her life. Once she tripped on a stone and went falling into the rocky ground, but she leapt to her feet and continued running, unmindful of the blood that spilled from her wounded hands and knees. As she got closer and closer, Kinda's mind began to race in time with her footfalls. It's too dark, not just fire. Can't be fire, too much smoke. Gotta save her. She She burst into the front yard and came to a sudden halt, her worst suspicion confirmed. The smoke from the fire was mingling with the thick, inky blackness of an enormous shade. The massive creature supported itself on 3 twisted feet, and a shape balanced through means of a large armored tail. Scales, horn, and claws sprouted from its body in a random, chaotic pattern, giving it the appearance of a lizard designed by some insane god. Seeing Kaine, he let out a roar and flickered his tail, sending small whirlwinds spinning around the yard. For a moment the creature retreated into a shimmering, inky blackness, as if her mind was unable to comprehend that such a thing could actually exist. But then the smell hit her, and blend of rotted meat and excrement, and the horror became real once more. The creature bellowed again, and this time Kaine responded with a scream of her own. "Alright, you bastard," she thought of her scream, echo of the high cliff around them. "It's you and me, let's go." Okay, I'm going to leave it here. It's too long. It's way too long. It's way too long, but this is the backstory of Kaine. I was not expecting this to be this long. But yes, I'll leave it here for the moment. This is where I left off. Then, well, I can continue, so what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to re-download the save again, because and get to this point, because I'm not going to record another video. It's too much. But anyway, guys, I'll talk to this about in the next video, everything that I thought about this. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, you're new, subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. So that's all for now, guys. Easy the Gamer signing off, and I will see you on the next video.